This office is a disaster. I went to dig a lot of things out today. Let me tell you why. Well guys, welcome to this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. Even though this vlog really doesn't have a whole lot to do with vehicles, this is probably one of the few vlogs that I will have on this channel, in this series and stuff, that doesn't have to do with cars directly. But I was going through some stuff and I found some more stuff and I found some more stuff, and it kind of inspired me to make this particular vlog. Just it's more of like a background and history vlog as far as me making videos. So I dug out a lot of my old cameras, and when I say old cameras, I mean we're talking back to VHS cameras. And there's a story that, you know, is involved with the VHS cameras and you know, everything after that. And I just, you know, first of all wanted to see if they worked, or if it worked I should say, and unfortunately no, not really. But another reason why I was kind of, you know, looking through all this stuff is because I finally bought something that I have been wanting to purchase for a long time, and that was one of these analog video converters, because I have a lot of home movies, as you'll come to find out here real soon in this video. But I have a lot of home movies. Over the years I've been putting them on DVD, and I've been using a DVD recorder to put them onto, you know, burnable DVDs and such. The problem that I've been facing though is a lot of these DVDs don't work afterwards, and I don't know exactly why. Even if they're a finalized disc, they don't play right and such. So I spent, you know, years over the last few years trying to put some of my videos on DVD, and I'm having issues with them. So I didn't finish all of my home movies, you know, from earlier years and such, but I was probably about halfway there, and I got a lot. So I have a huge stack of DVDs. I have a book, actually a binder over here full of DVDs that I started working on from years ago, and I'm just not happy with them because, you know, all the time and the energy and sitting through the videos and stuff just feels wasted if they're not working right. So I decided to buy one of these converters, and I'm hoping I can, you know, not only put them on DVD, but I'll have a pure digital backup from the source itself, which in this case would be the actual analog tapes. So at least they'll still be there digitally, and I want to buy like another like hard drive, and then that way I'll have a particular hard drive just for my home movies. And I don't know what the space and stuff's gonna be, how big the files will be. I haven't even used it yet. I literally just am installing it right now, and I'm hoping it works out well. So that's kind of why I started digging out all the old stuff, and then, like I said, it just kind of inspired me to tell you guys a little bit more about why I do what I do, basically, with video. And I wanted to show you guys the equipment and such that I used when I was still, you know, a child. I guess I could just start off by saying, you know, seriously, the majority of my life has been documented on camera. And not even necessarily when I was born. I mean, there's footage of my, you know, mom when I was in, you know, the womb. So from the womb on, I pretty much have my whole life documented on video one way or another. The very first camera that I was documented on, I honestly don't know if I've ever really seen it as I was older. I do remember it though from when I was really young, but it was one of those cameras where it didn't have a built-in VHS player. My parents had to hook it up to the VCR, and record that way. It was in black and white, and there was a really large scratch in the lens. So on every shot that you saw from that camera, there was this annoying white mark across the lens, and that was a huge gash in the lens, I guess. But you know, that my parents had that for a short time while I was still an infant, and then around the time, you know, that I was either 2 or 3, I know by the time I was 3, they actually bought a full-size, over-the-shoulder, sharp camcorder, and I'd love to find one of those just for, you know, nostalgic purposes. You know, one working, hopefully. That would be amazing, but maybe in time I'll do some research and see if I can actually find one. But as a kid, I remember this one being really large, and a lot of my earlier, you know, like I said, around the time I was 3 years old, 4 years old and stuff, there was a lot of home movies where that camera was used.
Are you gonna take a picture of Daddy?
Yeah.
Okay, cheese. Okay, go. Say it.
I think the fish they're good for me.
They're good for you.
They're good for them.
Say they taste good too.
They taste good too.
Boo. Okay, you're scaring me.
I'm gonna get this to you, okay?
Pull the sheet off.
Oh, get his face.
What is it?
Oh my gosh!
Now you wait.
Mike!
Wait, Michael. Now you help you.
Stop! Go forward. Let's pull out the pedal, honey. Let's pull out the pedal. Lift your foot. Honey, when you want to stop, lift your foot up.
Family.
What are you doing?
Filming your garage.
No, you wasn't.
These are gonna be great films.
So honestly, you know, I'm assuming that for sure had to have been a late 80s camcorder. Then, at some point, you know, around 1993, my parents ended up getting a new VHS camcorder. And that would be this one right here. So this is an RCA CC412 model. And this is the camera that I, as a young child, started learning how to film with. Now, I wasn't necessarily the greatest at filming at the age of, well, by this time I was 11. I was 11 years old when I was able to get my hands on this. But, you know, I don't honestly remember why I took a sudden interest in wanting to record. You know, it was, I think it was just one of those spontaneous moments or something. I just wanted to try it, see if my parents would trust me with this, because, you know, at the time it was still their camera, and we were still using it for, well, my parents were still using it for like home, you know, movies and stuff, my, you know, school plays and, you know, everything that had to do with my brothers and my sister and stuff. So, you know, for them to let me use this around the house and stuff, you know, you gotta figure at the time this thing was heavy. This is nothing now. it's nothing at all now. But yeah, so one day I just asked them if I could, you know, take it outside, and surprisingly enough, they trusted me, and that was kind of the start of just me wanting to make movies and stuff. So these here, there's only 7 of them, 7 tapes, but these are all of the tapes that I recorded with my siblings and my friends in the neighborhood and stuff. This was like the start of, like, I don't know, like my childhood is on these tapes through my eyes. Like, it's really cool looking back on this stuff and just knowing that, you know, the world as I saw it then, is here on these 7 tapes.
Hi, I'm Michael Adams, and this is our movie.
In these 7 tapes, there's one tape from 1998, and the rest of these are from 1999. So the very first video, which was this one, it was called Life on Washington Avenue, which was the street that I lived on, and as you can see, this tape has seen better days. It's completely broken and stuff, but it still plays. And I was able to transfer this one to DVD successfully. I'll probably end up going through it again with the new converter on the actual VCR and stuff. But this was, this whole tape was filled up in 2 days, I think, 3 days. And that was it. I quit using the camera for almost an entire year. And basically the entire year of 1999 is on these, and I was 12 years old. And my siblings and my neighbor friends and stuff, we started a series called The Silly Tape. And there's like, all of these are what we call the silly tapes. And basically it's just a bunch of us either making weird skits, funny skits, stupid skits. I mean, it's a lot of stuff now that I look back, I can watch these and look back and be like, why are we doing this? What's so funny about this? Like, it's kind of pointless stuff now, but then again, this was, again, you know, basically the entire year I was 12 years old. Most of these took place in the summer of when I was 12, and that's, you know, obviously these tapes mean a lot to me.
That sounds good, and you know it's true. We're rocking your minds like we knew it would. Yeah, my name is Jerry. Is it really?
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna watch what
Is it really on?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch what I just got done taped, and you'll see.
And look at this nice cool. Ah! What would she like to say? Jump rope. You can change your life. To the artist shop. Where they teach you from in a room and
No. Professional basketball player.
I'll make it. And out! Ow!
Have a good time.
Okay, thank you.
Tell Aunt Bart we love her.
Okay. Bye.
This is Britney Spears, the best CD ever. Now what a chick. She's the bomb, this CD. You'll see how they taste. Are you okay, little monkey? Monkey. Somebody get a doctor in the house! They're having fun.
So needless to say, this camera got a large amount of use from me alone just within, you know, a year and a half's time, from 98 to 99. The camera was manufactured in 93, and, you know, by the time that I had it, especially after that summer, or toward the end of the summer, the battery started to depreciate greatly. It really wasn't holding good charge anymore, so toward the end of the year, I remember needing to just plug the adapter cord into the back of this thing, and I would put the actual charger in my pocket, which would get really warm, and then we'd have an extension cord like outside or something that I'd plug it into and then plug it into something else. So I really couldn't go anywhere without there being some sort of external power supply because of how depreciated the battery was, and you couldn't do anything with it. So by that time, you know, I was getting kind of bummed out because you just couldn't really do anything with it. But overall, I want to say, you know, like, there are a lot of, obviously there's a ton of other VHS camcorders that were out there, not only from RCA, but other brands and stuff. And honestly, I've always liked the way this one looks. I know it's kind of a weird topic, but this just has an awesome shape all the way around. It doesn't really look like it's bulky. It's actually kind of smooth. It's got a handle on the top that you can push in. There's a little thing here that you can slide a light onto. Never had a light. And then of course there's the fact that it's an over-the-shoulder camera. So this is what you do. For those of you who don't know, this is what you do with an over-the-shoulder VHS camcorder. This is what you look like. So imagine me at like the age of 11, 12 years old walking around like this, and this is how I saw the world at the age of 11 and 12, ages of 11 and 12. And then, you know, this being from like 93, there really wasn't a whole lot of special things with this camera. It had a titler on it, which was fun, so you could put obviously stuff on the screen. Obviously it had the date and the time thing. A lot of these other things I really didn't really use too much of as a kid. This was more so just like, you know, a point and shoot camera. It had autofocus. But as time grew on, I kind of learned some tricks of my own on, like, you know, if like for example, it has the little thing here for manual zoom, and you can zoom in really quick if you move that up and down instead of pushing the two buttons over here on the side. It would zoom in really slow. But if you do this, you know, you can get like a dramatic effect in and out, you know, stuff like that. And then of course a fader. I kind of was learning how to use the shutter on this one before it started to crap out. So, but that kind of helped me with a couple of later cameras that I've had. So yeah, that's pretty much the history with this camera. This is the very first camera that I started to, you know, record with. Now today, you know, now that I dug it out and I have it here, I plugged it into the wall. It does turn on in both camera mode and VCR mode. However, the viewfinder doesn't work anymore, so when it's on and you look through this, there's nothing there. There's no significant amount of any kind of light at all. So, you know, I had it on. I put a tape in here. I got it to record, so I saw the tape rolling, and it was recording, but I just couldn't see what I was trying to film. And the tape itself didn't turn out too well either. I took the door off and I cleaned the heads, thinking maybe, of course, they were dirty, so I cleaned all of the heads, but I still wasn't getting good picture. So I was getting sound. The sound was sounding good. The sound sounded normal, but my picture just wasn't good. So I think this camera, you know, I don't know if just from sitting or just from the fact that it is, wow, this from 1993, I think it's just done for. And I really wish, you know, maybe one day I can find somebody who can repair it. It may not be worth it. Maybe I'll find another one of these just to have, you know, because I would love, honestly, to record with analog equipment for some of the vlogs and stuff. I just love analog stuff. But that's pretty much it for this camera. So this camera, you know, I quit using it right before I turned 13, and I'll show you why. So for my 13th birthday, which was nearly at the beginning of the year, 'cause I'm a February baby, so in February of 2000, on my birthday, or I should say a couple of days before my birthday, it was like maybe a day or two, we were celebrating my birthday a couple days early, and I got this. This is a Canon ES-190 8mm camera. As you can see, it's not an over the shoulder, it's you know, it's a palm cam basically. And this camera, to this day, honestly, probably has to be my favorite camera that I've had. Definitely got way more use out of this camera than the VHS camera. So, you know, I started using this in February of 2000 when I turned 13 years old, and the very last thing that I have recorded from this camera, as far as my tapes and stuff, June of 2006. So that's it. This camera, I used it for 6 years straight. By I think 2005-ish, the battery started depreciating on this one also, and I had to resort back to the charger pocket method, you know. But by that time, you know, in 2005, I had turned 18, and you know, by that time, life just kind of changed, and I didn't really have enough time to film with, you know, my friends or even my siblings. We were all, you know, getting older, and we were all just kind of starting to do our own thing. So, but needless to say, I have a large collection of home movies that were filmed on this particular camera. My very first car review, I should say, yeah, review, tour, whatever. My very first car video of my aunt's 2000 Pontiac Grand Am GT, which, like I said, is my very first car video that I filmed, because I loved that car, we all know that. But it was filmed with this. This was the camera that I filmed that on. You know, you guys have seen footage that I filmed with, filmed this camera with. The car show that we looked at back in one of the earlier vlogs, you know, we went to the one car show that was at one of the malls in Youngstown. So that was filmed with this. We did the Pontiac GTO in the showroom. The Aztec in the showroom at the Pontiac dealership was filmed with this. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that, you know, this camera was used for back in the day. However, this camera still works. Somewhat. Now, I am recording this segment here with this camera. This is going directly to a blank space that I found at the end of the very last 8mm tape that I had recorded on. So we are using the Canon camera right now, and you know, it's a mess, but the vlogging camera is right there. So we are, you know, literally using analog video right now. However, this does have a short in the switch, so hopefully it doesn't cut off. I'm trying to keep my hand from the back of the camera, because there's a little standby switch, and if you bump the switch, this camera will shut off and reset itself. So that's really the only issue with the camera. The rest of it seems to work just fine. And yeah, I've always liked the quality of this camera. I love how the picture was coming out. I thought the sound came out really clear, even though it's in mono. It's not even in stereo. There's two microphones up front, and I think it picks up sound, and it always delivered what I considered to be like a crisp sound and such. There's a light on it, but the light, it still works, but again, the switches in the back of the camera are just kind of short now, so there's really no point for me to even try and turn it on. But another cool thing that we used to use this camera for, Let's see if I can do it from the back. It had special effects, so there's like art mode, black and white, sepia, negative. We always got a kick out of that one. The mirror. This was like big. This was like fun stuff when we were kids. You know, you could reverse it, mosaic, pastel, emboss. You can pick out certain colors if they're like yellow tones, green tones, and stuff. You can stretch it out to a 16:9. You can put the bars on it. So you can see why this camera was honestly like my favorite camera to have. There was just so much stuff that we used to do with this camera, and like I said, this camera has seen a lot of you know, memories over the course of like a 5-6 year period. So like 5 to 6 years of my life have been documented with this camera on many tapes. In fact, I'll show you guys. So this is the first box of tapes that's here, and these videos are mostly from the beginning. These first 3 tapes here are the first 3 tapes ever recorded with. So February of 2000, and this box goes all the way to, looks like November of 2001, and then there's this box here, and this box goes from November of 2001 all the way to like I said, June of 2006. So these are all of my memories, and you can see why this camera got a lot of use. You can just see from all the tapes and stuff. I think these were the tapes here that I originally was leaving off with, trying to put on DVD. A majority of all of the tapes that you see through these 2 boxes, all those there, and maybe this half here, I think those are ones that I had already transferred, and some of them, like I said, a lot of them didn't really work out too well, so I have to redo them, and that's why I bought the converter thing. It's going to take some time, but at least I feel a little more confident knowing that I also have a digital copy and really good software to use. As you can see, I have the camera hooked up to the TV, so I can see when what I'm filming when I'm turning the camera around. Because there's no screen like on that, so I keep looking at the TV to make sure that, you know, I'm filming myself. The viewfinder does work on this camera, and yeah. So let's go ahead and switch it back over to the vlogging camera, and I guess we'll move forward. Oh wait, we gotta do the fade. We gotta do the proper fade. My parents used to use fade for everything when I was a kid. Right before they turn the camera off, they do a fade. So let's do a fade. Bye. Bye. I honestly thought that the fade was, I don't know, overused for sure when it came to my parents' home movies. But anyway, so this is probably the camera that means the most to me. There was a lot that was done with the camera, as you've seen there. Many years of stuff documented with this camera. And honestly, you know, this camera, it being, what, 18 years old now, you know, like I said, other than the fact that it cuts off when you're recording because of this switch back here, the playback and everything seemed to work fine, but it does worry me that one day this camera is not going to work anymore. And I have all of those tapes, and especially since I'm going through those tapes and trying to redo all my videos to digital, I'm really afraid that this camera may not make it throughout the entire process again. So I am going to buy what I found online, a brand new 8mm camera. It's from the 90s or early 2000s, one of the two, but according to the seller, it's never been used straight out of the box, like everything's still in plastic and everything. So it's actually pretty cheap. I'm going to buy that because, You know, I have a VCR. I have 2 VCRs. I might even have 3, to be honest with you. I know I got one downstairs. I got the one back here. I'll always have VHS things to play on, but if this camera goes, I don't have anything else for these 8mm tapes. So I think it's in the best interest for this process. I'm going to buy a new one, and then I'll have that as a backup, and I will in fact be using it also for maybe some of these videos. Just, you know, because again, I like analog stuff. I like the look of analog. So that pretty much sums up this up. So when I wanted to start making videos again, you know, after, it was actually about a year. I hadn't made anything in a year for the most part. I borrowed a camera, you know, to record certain things and stuff, but I didn't have a working camera of my own anymore. After this one, the battery kind of died and stuff, and I just kind of put it away. You know, but from time to time, if I needed to record something that I needed the battery for, I couldn't do it, so I would borrow a camera, and then finally it just got to a point where I wanted to buy another camera. So we bought this one. This is a Sony Handycam DCR HC28, and you can see it's a lot smaller. So this is a DV camera. This is technically digital tape. This is the very first camera that I had with any sort of digital filming on it, and it actually started making editing stuff a lot easier because it was going directly to the computer. So it's no longer analog, we're finally working with digital stuff. And I bought this in the summer of 2007, and I quit using this one at the very beginning of 2011. So, you know, there wasn't a whole lot that I was going to film with this one. This camera was just there to have in case something did come up. I did get a lot of good memories out of this camera. When we brought our one dog home as a puppy, Gordy, you know, his first few months were documented, you know, with this camera. I did a couple of my actual car reviews with this camera. The Aztec Featurette, which is what it was called. It was this camera that I was using. So the very first Aztec tour that I did was with this camera. Also, my aunt's 2009 Ford Escape video, my ex's 2005 Ford Taurus when she bought it was filmed with this, and that was kind of the start of the videos with the cars. That's, you know, so that was with this and Mike's Vehicle Spotlight, the very first Mike's Vehicle Spotlight, and, you know, maybe the first dozen Mike's Vehicle Spotlight features were filmed with this camera. So yeah, this is the one that was there for that. As far as the condition of this camera, it does still work. It might not be charged right now. It is not charged right now. I turned over the switch and it doesn't do anything. But you guys know what the pictures look like with this. You guys have seen footage with it. The last time that I used it was actually for the vlog, where I wanted to film what the engine looks and sounds like when you're driving. So this is the camera that I strapped under the hood of the Escape since it was so small, and it has night vision, which is the only camera that I have with night vision. So I wanted to use this for that purpose. So that tape is probably still in here, but needless to say, this camera still works okay. It does it seems to be a really infectious thing with all these cameras as they get older. There's a short miss switch somewhere too, so when you turn it on, if you end up bumping the actual power switch, it might short the camera out, and I didn't notice that until I was using it for that vlog where we were putting the camera under the hood of the Escape. I ended up bumping it a couple of times. The battery, it's a lithium battery now, so the battery's, it actually will still hold a charge, but definitely not as long as it used to. I could probably get maybe an hour out of this at most. It has a screen, oh yeah, this one does have a touchscreen. Yeah, so this is a touchscreen display here that you can use. What else? I don't know. Like I said, there's a tape in there. The tape is in there. Backlighting. Yeah, that was it. So I got a pretty fair amount of use out of this camera, especially once Mike's Vehicle Spotlight kicked off. And yeah, so this was a good camera. But when I really wanted to, you know, take it up a notch once I started Mike's Vehicle Spotlight and wanted something with a little more higher quality, I moved up to an HD camera. And that would be this one. This is the most recent camera, other than the one that I'm filming now. This is the most recent one that we were using. So this is a Sony Handycam HDR CX150, and this here has been used from, I think, March or April of 2011 up until last summer, and I still have it. It still works. You guys have seen what I'm not even going to go into detail with the videos, you know, with this, but you know, all of the Mike's Vehicle Spotlights up until, you know, 2017 were being filmed with this. All of the vlogs, like again, up until last summer, were being filmed with this. This has been a really awesome camera. Plus, it's blue, and I always liked the color of the camera. But yeah, I ended up replacing this with the camera that I'm using now because this one quit recording in HD. So I think I had burned out the processor. And you guys know that. You guys saw the vlog there. Again, there's no battery power with this right now. The battery is still good, but again, you can see that it's wearing out just from all of the use. I mean, you gotta figure, I did so many MVS features back in the day when I was really concentrated on it. And you know, the first year of MVS alone, I think there were about 60-some car videos that I had filmed with this, and the second year there was probably about 40 to 50, and I know it kind of bogged down some, but still a lot of recording time with this camera. Really wasn't a whole lot of special things with this camera. It was kind of basic. Had a touchscreen, playback, obviously, stuff like that. Recorded in HD. Was a camera, so I could take still photos also, much like this one. This camera is nearly the same, you know, so there's not a whole lot of difference there. This one did have a bigger hard drive, so it had a 16 gigabyte hard drive, so I never really had to use an SD card to, you know, keep all of the film, or not the film, but the videos on the camera. There was a lot of recording time with 16 gigs. This camera here I think only holds 8, so I had to cut down to half of that, but I don't really use as much camera time now as I used to back in the day. So that's pretty much the end of that. That's all of the equipment that I have been using over these, gosh, 18 years, 19, almost 20 years of recording. Wow, actually yes, 20 years of that very first video was made. So like I said, at this point actually I have been recording more of my life than actually being on camera in it as a kid, you know. So from the time that I was 11 up until now, I've been filming everything myself. A lot of you guys may have probably thought that this video was useless or pointless, but in a way I kind of always wanted to make a video just kind of explaining what kind of got me into filming. And even though to this day I really still don't know what made me want to pick up the camera, it was just something that I wanted to try, and I liked it, and it just really grew from there. I just thought this would be a good opportunity for me to share with you guys the stuff that I used and why I like them so much. I used to try to do editing, you know, with VHS. I'd have 2 VCRs hooked up to one another, and even with this, I would, you know, find a way to try to try to, you know, overdub music and stuff onto an analog VHS tape when I was younger. So it's challenging, but I love the vintage. Well, they call it vintage now. It's not really vintage to me. It's still analog. It's just, you know, vintage now is, I don't know, I don't consider it vintage. I just consider it something more original, you know. But I just always thought VHS quality and even anything analog quality I just think is awesome to this day. And I plan on making just, you know, having some videos with analog quality at some point, especially, you know, when I get the new 8mm camera. You know, I think that's going to be awesome. I love that stuff. And I'll never give up digital. Obviously, it's a lot easier, and well, right now it's the most efficient way to make a vlog, and even all the other videos that I make, it's a lot easier that way. But every once in a while I might just bring out this camera once I get it, and we're just have a good time recording old school, I guess. But I really, really wanted it to be this one. I was really hoping it would work. I just want to walk around like this again. People would probably see me and wonder, why is he using something from 1993 when he has a phone? I honestly hate using my phone for video. That might be because I like working with actual video. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. The phone is good when you're in a pinch and you need videos. Especially, like, you know, some days I've used this for backlot cars and stuff, and it's okay. But I still don't think it's as good as what we're using now. So guys, that's it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I hope you made it to the end. I'm sorry that it really didn't have a whole lot of car related items with it, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys again the stuff that I've used over the years, and just kind of give you guys a little history on why I do video. So if you guys enjoyed this, you know, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Check out teespring.com/stores/Mike's Vehicle Spotlight for all of your MVS and vlog merchandise. You can also check out said merchandise down below this video, where you will be able to scroll through and see some of the products that are available for sale on my Teespring store. So that's it, guys. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Okay, I really don't sit here and rock my cameras and my arms like that. That was just for this video. I promise. Alright, now it's time to clean this place up.